a project that I'm working on of a sea turtle in graphite that you will see right up here. Okay, so what we have here is our sea turtle. Yes, you can see I've drawn out a slight sketch of it on the paper using my reference photo to go by. And again, just adjusting the camera, trying to get a better view of this where you guys can really see it good. I've gone out and sketched out some of the areas where the details are going to go and the separations on those sections in this shell, as well as some other little areas, and just tried to get some basic stuff down on the paper before beginning on this. And what we will be starting on with this is our background in this video is what we'll be working on. And with that, I will be using some dollar drawing pencils purchased from Walmart that I had, and I will be using a HB pencil to start with. And there, as you see, I have my HB pencil with a fine sharp point. You want to make sure your pencils have a good sharp point so that they get down in there. And you want to start with a light lead and go lightly so that you get lots of graphite down into all of the crevices of the paper. And I will be starting with the HB pencil and just slowly filling in areas of the background around the turtle. And as you see, I've noticed that my pencil wasn't quite sharp enough, so I went and sharpened it some more there. Now I'm beginning to work on the image itself, working on filling in that background. And with the background and with graphite, when you're going to blend it, you don't have to do the ovals. You can go in up and down directions. You can do ovals. You can go in different directions if you like, because when you blend it out, that's not going to show. And as you can see, I'm just continuing to fill in that background, holding the pencil at an angle to where the point of the pencil gets down into the grooves. Right now. Occasionally you'll see it'll look like I'm holding it to the side, and that's when I'm just trying to get the edges of the paper. And I will continue to go back and forth, adjusting my hand and the pencil. Again, just continuing to try to fill in part of that. And you will find that with large projects, with large areas, that it can get kind of tedious trying to do one whole area. Like when you're filling in a background, you'll find yourself getting kind of bored with filling in one area, and so that you'll see me kind of skip around and work on one area for a while and then skip over to another area and work on it for a while. And so if you do that, if you just pick an area and work on that area until you have it done, and then move over to another area and work on that, instead of trying to do the whole background at once, it doesn't get quite as monotonous or tedious, and you will find that you won't start getting to the point to where you want to just quit, because it starts to get to you or get tedious. Again, just continuing to work on that one area, making sure that I get graphite around a lot of it, trying to make sure that I'm getting plenty of graphite on the paper, trying to make sure that I'm getting lots of graphite down into the valleys on the paper and getting it good and covered. Trying to make sure that I'm getting all of it covered, not to leave too much of the paper showing through. And I will be going back over this with other pencils, so some of the areas that I might not have gotten quite enough on the other pencils will cover that. This is we just want to get down our base right now, and you always want to build up in layers, and you want to start light and build up darker and adding contrast. And as you can see a shadow under my hand there, and I just wanted to point out there that that's because I'm holding my hand above the paper and holding the pencil at an angle so that it angles down toward the paper, so that I'm also not resting my hand on the paper, as to not to get any oils from my hand or anything from my hand on the paper or smudge the paper. Again, just continuing to work and fill in some of that background. And sharpening my, now I'm getting, I have a blending stump somewhere, but I could not find it, and so I just wanted to show you that you can do this with paper towels or cotton swabs, and so I'm showing you how you get that blended effect without a blending stump. And you can do the same effect with a blending stump that you can. The same effect that you can get with a blending stump, you can also get from a cotton swab or a Q-tip, which is the brand name of the cotton swab. So if you don't have a blending stump, you can use like a paper towel or a napkin wrapped around your finger, or Q-tips or cotton swabs. And again, just using the side of that Q-tip and blending that graphite out, trying to blend out all of those pencil marks. Just blending that graphite out, getting it, smoothing it out all over the paper. Continuing to work that Q-tip, and you will see as I'm using these Q-tips to blend this out, that after a while the side of it will build up that graphite on it, and so every time you go over an area, it's going to get it darker, because the graphite that's already on there is going to cause it to be dark as it is, and then when you're blending it out, it's going to continue to work on that, adding more graphite over it. And you'll see me turn the Q-tip and use different sides of it to get different effects, to pull some graphite up or to blend it out more, or to use the side that has graphite on it to darken areas up. Now I'm switching back to my HB pencil again and beginning to fill in another area of the background around the turtle. And that's what I was saying a while ago. It's a lot easier to work on a piece when you just take a section and work on it a section at a time, rather than trying to fill in the whole background at once and then blend it and then go back and put another layer down. So it's easier if you just take it a little at a time. Again, continuing to go back over areas where I see that I need to get more graphite down, because you want it to where you don't see any of the white of the paper. So as I'm going, you'll see me go back over areas that I've already gone over again, because I see some white showing through, and so I'm trying to make sure that I get all of that white covered. Again, just continuing to fill in an area around the background around the turtle. Moving down to another area of the background around the turtle and beginning to fill it in. And as you can see, I just kind of jump around it until I have an area filled in that I'll feel comfortable moving on to another stage or another step of the layering process. And then I will start blending it once I'm ready. And I mean, you can do this as you like. You can do even a smaller area before going and blending it. It's just totally up to you. It's totally your discretion, however you feel more comfortable. And it depends on the piece that you're working on as well. Sometimes if you're working on a smaller piece, you may want to break or the larger the piece, you may want to break it down into large sections, and with smaller pieces you can break it down into smaller pieces. Work on smaller sections at a time. Now I've moved down to the bottom right hand corner of the sea turtle, working on that area. Just continuing to go in different strokes, going up and down in circles. Just trying to fill in that background, trying to get as much graphite down on that paper from that HB pencil. And I have several pencils that I'll be using on this. Right now I'm using my HB, and then once I have all of the background filled in with the HB pencil, then I will start working on putting a layer down with my 3B pencil, and then from the 3B I will be going to a 6B, and then to I think I go from a 3B to a 6B and then to an 8B. Okay, now I've switched to the Q-tip again, and I'm just blending all that out, trying to get as much of that graphite around the paper and into the crevices, and trying to blend out all those pencil strokes. And you can do that. You can use this Q-tip, as you will see. Many times I will change the way I'm using it, the way I'm holding it. You'll see like as I am right here, using the side of the Q-tip to blend out. Then when the side of the Q-tip is not giving me the effect that I want, I will hold it up and use the end of the Q-tip where the cotton is the thickest on it. Blending out the areas around the turtle. Again, switching to the side of the cotton swab to blend out. And as you can see, a lot of those pencil strokes that you could see where I had stop and start points from going back and forth with the pencil are just blending away. It's just blending those out. Taking my pencil and going back over the area that I've already done, trying to darken it up some more with some of the extra graphite on the swab. And you can see in areas where there was white, as I'm blending this out, that's blending that graphite into the areas where there was not graphite. And that's another benefit to doing the blending, is that when you do this, it spreads that graphite all over the paper, covering it, getting that graphite down in all of the little grooves and the teeth of the paper. Again, continuing to use that swab to blend out that graphite. Now I've switched back to my HB pencil to fill in another section around the turtle. Again, just continuing to fill in another section of the turtle around around the turtle of the background, just trying to make sure I'm getting lots of that graphite down on the paper. Now moving over to another area of it. And as you can see here, now I'm working on the bottom of the paper, trying to fill in the bottom half. And since I like to use as much of the paper as I can in the images that I work on. And so instead of putting tape around the whole edge, I just put it on the corners. And in doing so, that allows me to use as much of the paper in the image as possible. However, I have problems with the pencil slipping off the edge of the paper when I do this. So what I do is I take a ruler, or I'll place my hand up against the edge of the paper, or a ruler against the edge of the paper to keep my pencil or whatever I'm working with at the time from slipping off the edge of the paper. And then once I have it all filled in, then I put the ruler down and finish filling in the rest of the area around the turtle. Again, just continuing to try to fill in that rest of the background around the turtle. And as you can see, moving over to a different part of it instead of just continuing to work from one side to the other. That keeps it from getting so monotonous. That's another thing too, is even if you love art, even if you really enjoy drawing and doing pieces, especially when it comes to drawing and painting with color pencils, it can get kind of, after a while you tend to start getting tired and starts to get monotonous to you, and you tend to want to start wanting to quit. So if you move around like this instead of just continuing to stay in one area, it keeps things from getting quite so monotonous, and keeps you from wanting to quit as much. Again, just continuing to go back over, trying to fill in all of the paper, get as much graphite down on the paper as I can, trying to make sure I'm getting everything filled in good, getting lots of graphite on that paper, getting all the white filled in. Going back over areas where I need it to be darker. Again, just going back over areas that I've already done to fill in areas where I saw it needed some more graphite down on the paper, darkening up the areas around the parts of the turtle underneath, because I know that those are going to be casting shadow and they're going to be darker. Now I've got my cotton swab out again, and I'm using it to blend out the area. As you can see, that after a while from blending, the cotton swab starts to get kind of wore out. The cotton starts coming off of the sides of the cotton and wearing down to the end. And so, as I said before, you'll see me turn it and rotate it and straighten it out. You'll see me using the sides, the tip or the end of the cotton swab, just whatever area or part of the Q-tip or cotton swab that I'm using that gets me the effect that I want. Again, continuing to just blend out those areas with the Q-tip. And there you see I've switched to the end because it's nice and soft because it's got where this cotton has all rubbed down to the end of it. So it's nice and soft, and it's going to give me that nice soft blending. Just continuing to blend that out with that cotton swab until I've got it the way I want it to look before moving on. And again, you can, every artist is different. You know, when you're working on a project, you can do things the way it feels most comfortable to you. And as you can see here, I continue to switch back and forth with my hands because sometimes it's easier to do an area with a different hand to where you can see better what you're doing, get to areas better to work that you're wanting to have a fineness to. Again, just continuing to go over that with that cotton swab, trying to make sure I'm getting all that area, that the area is blended out good, getting that graphite smoothed out all over the paper. Trying to get a nice, fairly even look around the paper. Now I've switched into my 3B, which is a little bit softer lead and it's a little bit darker. Sharpening that pencil up some more because it wasn't quite sharp enough. So I'm just sharpening that up and then getting to work on the areas that I want to darken up. Now with each pencil, that as I get darker, you'll see that I won't be actually covering the whole background with it. I will just be adding darker colors over each one in the areas where I wanted to add more contrast. So I don't necessarily have to put a lot of it down over the whole image because I can blend that into the areas and blend it out to a lighter and blend it in with that lighter pencil in the background and just blend the two together to give them some contrast. So I'm basically just going to be going around and going into the areas where I want to add more contrast and darken it up more. Stopped and looked at it for a minute to see where I needed to add some more contrast. And again, with this background, I'm not really looking at the reference photo that much because with this background it was a fairly solid background, so there, you can have a little bit of leeway here You don't have to have it strict as exact as the reference photo. And with this being a pretty solid background, from as you can see from the reference photo before, it's pretty much almost one solid color. And basically, to help give me more of a idea as for the tones and the contrast for the picture, the reference photo that I had up at the beginning, I actually took that reference photo and changed it to a black and white to help me see better where my contrast and my darks and my lights were going to be at, as well as to help me see where my shading and all was going to be. Again, just filling in those areas with that number 3 pencil to put in that contrast. Again, as you can see, I'm not trying to go do the whole image and fill in the areas that I want darker at one time. I'm doing it a section at a time, even as I'm switching pencils. So instead of doing one layer all in one color and then blending out, I'm doing a little area with the next pencil like I did before, working in sections and then blending it out. Again, adding some more of that number 3 into the areas where it needs to be darker and adding more contrast. Now I've moved over to the other side of the image. Again, here you can see I'm just kind of jumping around, filling in areas where they need to be more filled in. Again, continuing to put down some more of that number 3 pencil into the areas where I want to darken up the area, add some more contrast to the image. Just continuing to fill that in. And then once I have once I'm satisfied I have this, then I'll switch to the Q-tip and start blending this. And again, just going into the areas where I want to add some different contrast. And then I'll take that Q-tip and I'll start blending that out again.
How you doing?
Now I've got my Q-tip and I'm blending that out again. Just taking that Q-tip, using the side and the end of it to just blend that all in, blend it in with the lighter areas, blend it around the turtle, darken up some areas that need to be darker. Again, just continue to blend that out, and you'll want to blend it and just keep blending it until it gets the way you want it to be. You just want to keep blending it until you get it nice and smooth. Get all those pencil marks blended out. Again, you can use the side of it, you can use the tip of it, just whichever area is giving you the best results. Again, just continuing to blend out with that Q-tip until I get it looking the way I think it should look. Just working that Q-tip back and forth, using the side and the tip of it, just whichever part of it that seems to be giving me the best result that I need. And now I'm just switching pencils again, and now I'm switching to my 6B pencil, and I'll begin putting down some layers of the 6B pencil down. And you can see it's even softer lead with it's even darker.
How you doing?
Now I'm just taking that 6B pencil and just going down in areas where I want to just darken up that background some more, and again just continuing to blend that out with the cotton swab. Now I'm blending out the areas. Got my 6B pencil going over the areas and darkening it up, bringing in some more contrast. Now I've got that cotton swab, and I'm just going over the areas that I've darkened up with that 6B pencil, blending those in with the other layers, smoothing it out, blending it, getting all the pencil strokes out. Again, just continuing to blend and layer, blend and layer. That's the main thing with working with any art, is just layer, layer, layer until you have it looking the way you want it to look. Just keep blending and adding more layers. Stop every once in a while, take a step back, look at the pictures, look at your image, look at your reference photo, see where you might want to darken an area, lighten an area. Maybe an area needs to be blended some more. Darkening up those areas around the fins because they're casting shadows, adding more contrast. blending those areas in. Using that cotton swab, working that cotton swab back and forth, going in circles, just blending it in many different strokes and ways, using the side again, using the tip. And you want to just use everything in the way that you want that gets you the result that you want. It's totally up to you and the way you like to do it, and that best suits you. And adjusting that Q-tip, turning it to get the part of the Q-tip that I need to give me the result that I need. Blending in those areas where I've darkened it up with that 6B pencil. Again, continuing to just work that Q-tip in that 6B pencil, blending out those pencil strokes, softening it up, blending it out, getting the areas blended like I need it to. Again, now I'm getting my other pencil, looking for my next pencil, checking the point on it to make sure it's good and soft, good and pointed, has a nice fine point on it. Looking for my, there we go, I found it. And now I'm working with my 8B pencil, which is an even darker lead, and it's an even softer lead. And just going, again, as you can see, I'm not covering the whole areas, just filling in some areas to darken it up, because it'll blend with this darker and softer lead. I can blend that into the areas where I want it to be darker without having to actually put any lead down. And just going over areas where I just want to add some more contrast, darken some areas up with that 8B pencil. Just putting some down where I want to just really darken it up, because I know there's shadows there where it's going to be casting a shadow, reflecting in the water. Now I'm going over areas. Again, with that pencil moving around, not putting it in all over or not even covering all of the area where I previously went over it with the 6B, just going over areas where I want to add some more contrast and darken it up some. Showing those lights and those shadows. Again, just continuing to darken it up a little bit in areas, and then I'll take the Q-tip and I'll be blending that out now. Just got that Q-tip and I'm just going over the areas that I just put down with 8B pencil and blending that in with the other layers to add more contrast, show different depths of the water, different variations in the water, in the background around him. Just continuing to use that Q-tip to work that background to blend it in, blend it out with that Q-tip, using the side of it and the end of it. Going back and forth in different directions, just blending that out. You want to have that soft, smooth look to it. Again, just continuing to work that Q-tip, blending out that 8B pencil in that background until I have it looking the way I feel like it needs to look. And again, this is all a totally artist discretion. If you have an effect on your image that you like and you like the way it looks, it's totally your discretion. It's totally up to you. If you like something, great. The main thing is you want to like it. If you like your work, then that's what matters. You just want to, and the main thing again is you just want to keep blending and layering until you have something, your piece looking the way you want it to. And sometimes that may be a few layers, sometimes that may be lots of layers. Some artists and some people like fewer layers, like the way that their piece looks with fewer layers, and then others like to continue it to add additional layers because they may want to get more finer detail or more realistic looking work. It totally depends on what you're going for and what you're looking for in the piece. Again, just continuing to use that Q-tip to blend out that graphite and that 8B pencil over the 6B and the 3B pencil. Until I have the desired effect and the desired look that I want the image to have. Again, using a Q-tip. You can use a blending stump. You can use paper towel to do this, or napkin. Okay, well, here is the finished background for our sea turtle that we have started working on. And I hope you enjoyed this part of the video, and I hope to see you again in the next part when we will be actually working on the sea turtle itself. And I hope you enjoyed this. Please go ahead and give me a like down below and leave me any comments that you would love to leave me, and give me suggestions or tips. If you see something that you think that I could improve on, or something that you would like to see me do, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Be sure to subscribe so that you will be notified of my videos coming up in the future. Hope to see you around.